The crystalline chamber of the Galactic Council thrummed with tension. Ambassador Threxus stood before the holographic display. His 6 eyes narrowed at the image of the human woman surrounded by Kethran cubs. "The vote is unanimous," Threxus declared, his voice echoing through the vaulted halls. "Arin Vale must be removed from Kethra IV immediately. Her presence violates Protocol 7 of the Preservation Act." On the viewing screen, Arin Vale sat cross-legged in the dirt, her weathered hands gently cleaning a wound on a cub's paw. The young Kethran, a species resembling massive, furred predators with intelligent amber eyes, leaned into her touch with complete trust. "The Kethrans are a protected species," Council Member Vesh added, her scales rippling with agitation. "Uncontacted. Primitive. This human's interference could corrupt their natural development. What none of them understood, what their sensors and statistics couldn't measure, was that Arin Vale hadn't come to Kethra IV by choice. 3 cycles earlier, Arin's exploration vessel had malfunctioned during a routine survey mission. She'd crashed in the northern forests of Kethra IV, her ship a smoking ruin, her distress beacon shattered. The Council's monitoring satellites had missed her entirely, focused as they were on the planet's southern settlements. She'd expected to die alone. Instead, she'd heard the crying. A cub, barely past infancy, trapped beneath a fallen log after a landslide. Its mother, dead beside it, crushed by the same debris. Arin had spent 6 hours digging with bleeding hands, ignoring her own injuries, until she freed the small creature. The cub, she'd later name him Sarkis, for the rumbling purr he made when Content had looked at her with eyes too intelligent for a supposedly primitive species. He hadn't attacked. Instead, he'd pressed his massive head against her chest and whimpered. That night, more cubs came. Orphans. Injured. Lost. Word spread through the forest in ways the Council's xenobiologists claimed impossible for Kethrans at their developmental stage. They came to the strange, furless creature, who smelled of smoke and stars, who shared her meager rations, who sang soft songs in the darkness. Arin had learned their language through necessity, a complex system of growls, purrs, and body language. She learned that Kethrans weren't primitive at all. They simply lived differently, valued differently. They had stories, traditions, a concept of family that transcended blood. She became what the cubs called Valkar, protector, teacher, the one who stays. Now, 3 Council enforcers descended through Kethra IV's atmosphere, their extraction vessel cutting through clouds like a blade. Their mission was simple: retrieve the human, erase all evidence of contact, restore the natural order. Arin saw them coming. She was in the clearing, her clearing, where 23 cubs of various ages had made their home around her improvised shelter. Sarkis, now nearly full-grown, stood at the edge of the group, his amber eyes tracking the descending ship. "They're here," Arin whispered, her voice catching. She'd known this day would come. The Council was meticulous about its preservation protocols. The ship landed with a hiss of hydraulics. 3 figures emerged, clad in armor that gleamed in the dappled sunlight. The lead enforcer, a Thalaxian with 4 arms, activated his translator. Arin Vale. "By order of the Galactic Council, you are to be extracted immediately. Do not resist." Arin stood slowly, her joints aching. 3 cycles of surviving on alien soil had aged her. "I understand," she said quietly. "But let me say goodbye." Negative. Protocol demands. Demands. A low rumble cut him off. Sarkis had stepped forward, positioning himself between Arin and the enforcers. His lips pulled back from teeth, designed to tear through prey twice his size. "The indigenous life is protected," the enforcer said, raising a neural disruptor. "Stand down, or we will be forced to." The rumble grew louder. One by one, the other cubs moved. They formed a ring around Arin, their bodies pressed close, creating a living barrier. The youngest cubs, barely knee-high, pushed their way to the front, their tiny growls fierce despite their size. Fascinating. the second enforcer murmured, adjusting her scanner. This behavior. It's not in their profile. They shouldn't have this level of protective instinct for alien species. They're sapient, Aaron said softly. They always were. You just never looked closely enough. The Thalaxian enforcer's eyes narrowed. Our protocols are clear. We will remove you. With or without cooperation. He raised his weapon. Sarkis roared. It wasn't the roar of an animal. It was language deep, resonant, carrying across the forest. Within moments, answering calls echoed from the trees. Adult Kethrans emerged from the shadows, dozens of them, their eyes fixed on the enforcers. This is impossible. The third enforcer stammered. They're organized. They're people. Aaron finished. And I'm not leaving them. The standoff stretched. Seconds feeling like hours. The lead enforcer's hand trembled on his weapon. He could stun the human, extract her by force. But the Kethrans, harming a protected species, would end his career. Possibly his freedom. Finally, his translator crackled to life as he opened a channel to the council. Ambassador Threxis, he said slowly. I believe we have a situation that requires re-evaluation. 6 standard months later, the Galactic Council announced a historic revision to the Preservation Act. Kethra IV was reclassified. First, contact protocols engaged. The Kethrans, it turned out, had been quietly waiting to see if the galaxy was worth joining. Aaron Vale was appointed as official liaison, the human who'd taught the Council a fundamental truth. Intelligence isn't measured by technology, and family isn't limited by species. In the clearing, Sarkis lay beside her, his massive head resting on her lap as she scratched behind his ears. Around them, cubs played and learned, no longer orphaned, and when the stars came out, Aaron sang the same soft songs she'd sung on that first lonely night. Except now, the cubs sang back.